There's a certain kind of person who wakes up on their birthday, makes coffee, checks their phone, and feels absolutely nothing unusual. No excitement, no dread, just another morning, and when someone asks them, "So, what are you doing for your birthday?" they say the one word that seems to confuse the entire world. Nothing, and suddenly the room shifts. Friends exchange glances. Family members get that look, the one that sits somewhere between concern and disappointment. Society, with all its candles and confetti and carefully curated Instagram posts, looks at this person and quietly decides, something must be broken in there. But what if nothing is broken? What if the very fact that they can say it's just another day, calmly, without performance, without needing anyone to fix it, is actually one of the most psychologically complex things a human being can do? Because here's what nobody tells you. The way a person relates to their own birthday is one of the most honest windows into their entire emotional architecture. It tells you how they learned to hope, how many times that hope was quietly crushed, whether they ever felt safe enough to need something out loud, and whether life rewarded that need or punished it. Let's start at the very beginning, not your last birthday, your first memory of one. You were young, maybe 6, maybe 8, and in the weeks leading up to that day, something magical happened inside your chest, a quiet, bubbling anticipation. You told your friends at school, you imagined the balloons, you pictured the moment when everyone would stop, turn toward you, and for one entire day, make you feel like you mattered in a room. That feeling wasn't childish. It was deeply, fundamentally human. The need to be seen, celebrated, is wired into us as profoundly as hunger. But then the day arrived, and maybe it was smaller than you imagined. Maybe someone important forgot. Maybe the people you needed most were distracted, distant, or simply not there. Maybe the party happened, but you sat inside it feeling invisible anyway, surrounded by noise, but completely alone in the center of it. You didn't make a scene. You didn't cry where anyone could see. You just did something very quiet, very private, and very permanent. You adjusted. You lowered the ceiling on your expectations. Not dramatically, just a little. Just enough that next year, the fall wouldn't hurt as much. And then you did it again the year after that, and again, until one day you realized you had stopped expecting anything at all. And the strangest part, it felt like relief. This is what psychologist Martin Seligman discovered in 1967 in a study that would go on to reshape how we understand human suffering. He called it learned helplessness, the psychological state that emerges when a person experiences repeated disappointment with no control over the outcome. The brain, which is fundamentally an efficiency machine, eventually makes a ruthless calculation. Hoping costs more than it returns. So it stops, not because you gave up, but because you learned. And birthdays, more than almost any other day in the human calendar, are perfectly designed to trigger exactly this mechanism. Because a birthday isn't just a date. For a child, it is a promise that today you will matter, that people will remember, that you will feel the gap between ordinary days and this one. When that promise is broken, not once, but year after year, in small, quiet, undramatic ways, your nervous system doesn't just record the disappointment. According to researchers at Johns Hopkins, the brain doesn't simply remember painful anniversaries. It relives them. The emotion resurfaces on schedule, even when the conscious mind has long moved on. That 8-year-old who quietly swallowed their birthday disappointment, they didn't disappear. They just went somewhere deeper inside you, and every year, right around this time, they stir. So when you say it's just another day, That sentence wasn't born from apathy. It wasn't born from maturity or minimalism or being above it all. It was built, brick by brick, from every birthday that taught you that wanting something out loud, with hope, was a risk your heart could no longer afford. And the calm in your voice when you say it, that isn't coldness, that's armor. But here's where it gets more complicated. Because not everyone who dismisses their birthday carries this particular wound. There are actually several completely different psychological profiles hidden beneath that same sentence, and one of them might surprise you in a way you weren't expecting. Because sometimes the person who treats their birthday like a normal day isn't protecting a wound at all. Sometimes they're protecting something far more quietly powerful, their own peace. Psychologists Ryan and Desai, through decades of research into self-determination theory, found that the most emotionally resilient people are those whose sense of worth flows from within, not from calendars, not from crowds, not from a room full of people singing a song they didn't choose. These are the people who somewhere along the way stepped off what researcher Philip Brickman called the hedonic treadmill, that exhausting cycle of chasing external moments to feel internally whole, and simply stopped running. They didn't stop caring about themselves. They stopped needing proof. And that distinction between someone who has healed their relationship with celebration and someone who has simply buried their need for it is perhaps the most important question you can sit with tonight. So ask yourself honestly, in the quietest part of your mind, is it freedom or is it fear dressed in the clothing of indifference? Only you know the answer, and the fact that you're asking it at all means something beautiful is already beginning to shift inside you. Because healing doesn't always look like throwing a bigger party. Sometimes it looks like allowing yourself, just once, to whisper to the universe, I want to feel celebrated today. Not for anyone else, just for that 8-year-old still waiting somewhere inside your chest. They deserved it then. And so do you now. If this found you today, it wasn't an accident. Subscribe. The next video might understand you even more than this one did.